Good afternoon, my dear students. Welcome back to our science class. In the last class, we learned digestion process in stomach and small intestine. Today, we are going to discuss digestion in large intestine. Okay, children. So, dear students, all of you look at the picture. The picture shows large intestine. The function of the large intestine is to absorb fluids and salts from the indigestible food matter, and it helps to collect and eventually relieve the body of waste matter. The large intestine is wider and shorter than small intestine. It is about 1.5 meter in length. The remaining waste of undigested food material that passes into the rectum and remains there as semi-solid feces. The fecal matter is removed through the anus from time to time. It is called the process of egestion. Okay, children. So, all of you remember the process of nutrition. The main steps of nutrition in humans are ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. So, once again, we are going to watch a video related to the digestion process in human beings. The human digestive system that starts from the mouth and ends in the anus. The process of digestion means the breakdown of complex components of food into simpler substances. It is called digestion. The buccal cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and anus are involved in the process of digestion. Here you can see the different parts involved in the process of digestion. The first one is mouth. Digestion begins in the mouth. When we eat food, the process of digestion takes place from the mouth. Our teeth are powerful crushers that cut, chew, shred, and grind the food particles. Our lips that helps to hold the food in, and the tongue that pushes the food inside the mouth. Here we can see saliva. Here the picture shows salivary glands, and these salivary glands that helps to secrete saliva, and saliva that contains many enzymes which moisten the food and break it down into smaller and smaller particles. Here the food becomes soft and smooth with the help of saliva. Then the next part is tongue. Tongue is a powerful muscle that pushes the food down into the esophagus. Okay, this process is called swallowing. Then the next part involved in the digestion process is esophagus. Esophagus is a long, thin tube which transports the food from the mouth to the stomach. Okay, this is a tube-like structure and it is present inside the neck. Okay, children, it is about 25 centimeter long in an adult, and it is also known as gullet or food pipe. And the strong muscles in the walls of the tube that squeeze and push the food down into the stomach. Then the muscular wall that is present in the esophagus that helps to stop the food from the stomach to re-enter the mouth. Then the next part is stomach. The shape of the stomach is J, and it has strong muscular bag that can stretch to store the food. It works like a food blender. The inner wall of the stomach that contract to churn the food. And acidic fluids, that is digestive juices that aid in the breaking down of food in the stomach. Glucose directly absorbed in the blood through the walls of the stomach. Then here the food in the stomach that stays for nearly 3 to 4 hours. Here we can see liver. All of you remember, liver is the largest gland in the human body. It is the largest and busiest organ inside the body. It does many different jobs. It helps to produce thick green fluid that is called bile, and it is stored in the bag-like structure present near the liver. It is known as gallbladder. Bile, that is a digestive juice that helps in breaking up the fats that are eaten. This makes it easier for fatty food to be digested in the stomach and intestine. The liver also helps to receive and processes nutrients from the blood, storing some and passing others on. It also clears the blood of poisonous and waste. Then, pancreas. The pancreas produces many enzymes which are released into the small intestine. It also produces enzymes to further break down the food. Then, pancreas that produces insulin, a hormone which controls the sugar levels in our blood. When the pancreas do not produce enough insulin, we tend to get diabetes. Then the next part is small intestine. When the food leaves the stomach, it enters into the small intestine, which is nearly 7 meters long. The digestive juices that helps to break down the food into soluble substances. Soluble substances are easily absorbed by the walls of the small intestine. It is then passed into the bloodstream. Then the last part is large intestine. It is a long wide tube about 1.5 meters long that surrounds the tightly coiled small intestine. It is at the end of the digestive system. It helps to absorb fluids and salts from the indigested food. Large intestine receives remains of the food from the small intestine. The excess water and salts are absorbed here. The waste product from the digested food that moves down to the end of the tract. The process of digestion takes place here. Here, the walls of the large intestine are very smooth and it produces a slimy mucus. This helps the food waste called feces to slide along easily and passes out of the body through the anus. The undigested food that stays up to 12 hours in the large intestine. Therefore, it pulled out of the body. Then the next one is rectum. It is about 12 centimeter long tube at the end of the large intestine, which helps to hold the feces. Then the end point is anus. Anus is the final point of digestive system. It is the opening at the end of the rectum. The solid waste through the process of digestion, that is, passes out of the body from here. All of you remember, in the process of digestion, when we eat food, all of you must chew our food well, eat a balanced diet and follow the right eating habits to stay healthy and fit. Now we finished the process of digestion in human beings. Next we are going to discuss digestion in grass-eating animals. We have seen that cow, buffaloes and other grass-eating animals, they chewing continuously even when they are not eating. Do you know the reason why these animals continuously chewing? Yes, when these animals eat grass, they actually quickly swallow it and store it in a part of the stomach, which is called the rumen. When these animals that eat grass, they actually quickly swallow it and store it in the part of the stomach, which is called rumen. In rumen, the food gets partially digested and it is called cud. The partially digested food, it is called cud. Now again the cud returns to the mouth in the form of small lumps and the animal chew it. This process is called rumination. Therefore, these animals are called ruminants. Okay, these animals is known as ruminants. Now, you might think why these animals don't chew their food properly at the time of when they eat. Yes, this is because to escape from the predators, quickly eat the grass and move ahead from the place. After chewing the food that reaches the stomach for complete digestion. After chewing the food that reaches the stomach for complete digestion. Ruminants have a large sac-like structures between the small intestine and large intestine, which is called cecum. The grass, which is the main food of ruminants, that contains cellulose and it is a kind of complex carbohydrate. The cecum contains symbiotic bacteria which helps to digest the cellulose of the food. Humans and many other animals, they do not have these bacteria. So, therefore, they cannot digest cellulose. This is how the digestion takes place in animals. We have already learned that the digestion in complex organisms like human and ruminant animals which have a complex digestive system. Okay, now we finished the digestion process in human and ruminant animals. Dear students, next we are going to discuss about the feeding and digestion process in amoeba. Amoeba is a microscopic single-celled organism which is found in pond water. There are certain organisms which do not have mouth and a digestive system, yet they digest food. This organism is amoeba, which is found in ponds. It is single-celled and we cannot able to see it with the naked eye. It has a cell membrane around the nucleus and vacuoles in its cytoplasm. It changes its shape and position constantly by pushing out finger-like projections called pseudopodia. It is also known as false feet, and it captures some microscopic organisms as its food. The food becomes trapped in a food vacuole and the digestive juices act on food to break down into simpler substances. Finally, the undigested food is expelled outside by the vacuole. By, you can say, all the animals have the same basic process of digestion. That means the basic process of digestion of food and release of energy is the same in all animals. All of you take your textbook and open page number 17. In a previous class, we learned the digestive process takes place in the stomach and small intestine. We all know that the main steps of nutrition in humans are ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. The process of digestion starts from the buccal cavity and ends at the anus. It is a tube-like structure and it has many compartments. mouth and buccal cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. Today we are going to discuss the last compartment, that is the large intestine. All of you try to read together. The large intestine is wider and shorter than small intestine. It is about 1.5 meter in length. Its function is to absorb water and some salts from the undigested food material. The remaining waste passes into the rectum and remains there as semi-solid feces. The fecal matter is removed through the anus from time to time. This is called egestion. In a previous class, we discussed about small intestine. The small intestine is a highly coiled and it is about 7.5 meters long. And in a small intestine, the process of absorption and assimilation takes place. Here in the small intestine we can see a finger-like projections that is called villi, and the villi that helps for the to increase the surface area for absorption of digested food materials. Okay, then today we are going to discuss about large intestine. Large intestine is wider and shorter than small intestine. Okay, large intestine is wider and shorter than small intestine, and the main function of large intestine is to absorb water and some salt from the undigested food materials. In a small intestine, the process of absorption and assimilation takes place, and the undigested food materials that is enter into large intestine from the small intestine. Okay, and here in large intestine, the food is absorbed, the undigested food material enter into the large intestine, and here the absorption of water and some salts takes place. Okay, then the remaining waste that passes into the rectum and remains there as a semi-solid feces. The remaining waste after the absorption of water and some salt from the undigested food material, then the remaining waste that is passes into the next compartment, that is rectum, and remains there as a semi-solid feces. Feces means the expelled waste. Okay, then the fecal matter is removed through the anus from time to time. This is called egestion. Okay, egestion is the process by which the fecal matter that is removed through the anus. Okay, children. Then here the process of digestion is completed. In a human beings, the process of digestion that starts from mouth and buccal cavity and it ends in the anus through egestion. Okay, children. Then next we are going to discuss about the digestion in grass-eating animals. Have you observed cows, buffaloes and other grass-eating animals chewing continuously even when they are not eating? Actually, they quickly swallow the grass and store it in a part of the stomach. It is called rumen. We can see cow, buffaloes and other grassy eating animals, they chew continuously. They chewing continuously even when they are not eating. Isn't it? Yes, they quickly swallow the grass and store it in a part of the stomach. And its part of the stomach, it is called rumen. Okay, underline the sentence. They quickly swallow the grass and store it in a part of the stomach. It is called rumen. Here, the food gets partially digested and is called cud. But later, the cud returns to the mouth in small lumps and the animal stews it. This process is called rumination, and these animals are called ruminants. Here, we can see there are some animals, that is cow, buffaloes and other grass-eating animals. They chewing continuously even when they are not eating. Here the animals that eat grass, they actually they eat grass, quickly swallow it and store it in a part of the stomach. This part of the stomach, it is known as rumen. And in rumen, the food gets partially digested. So, such partially digested food materials is known as cud. Then again, the cud returns to the mouth in the form of a small lumps and the animal again chew it. This process is called rumination and therefore these animals are called ruminants. Okay children. Then the grass is rich in cellulose, a type of carbohydrate. In ruminants like cattle, deer, etc., bacteria present in rumen helps in digestion of cellulose. Many animals, including humans, cannot digest cellulose. Okay, and here we discuss about the process of digestion takes place in ruminants. We all know that they are grass eating animals. So the grass is rich in cellulose, a type of carbohydrate. In ruminants like cattle, deer, etc., certain bacteria is present in the rumen that helps to digest cellulose. Many animals such as human beings, they cannot digest cellulose. Then animals like horses, rabbit, etc. have a large sac-like structures called cecum between the esophagus and the small intestine. The cellulose of the food is digested here by the action of certain bacteria which are not present in human. Here they have a sac-like structure that is called cecum. Ruminant animals such as cows, goats, sheep, they have a unique gastrointestinal tract that allows them to digest plant materials. The ruminant stomach has 4 unique chambers and these are the reticulum, rumen, omasum and abomasum. The rumen may be considered the most functionally important part. The rumen is the primary site for digestion and absorption of the nutrients. The sac-like structures that is called cecum between the esophagus and the small intestine. Here the cellulose of the food is digested and by the action of certain bacteria, but it is not present in humans. So far you have learned about animals which possess the digestive system. But there are many small organisms which do not have a mouth and a digestive system. Then how do they acquire the digested food? In the section below you will learn another interesting way of food intake. Next we are going to discuss about the feeding and the digestion process in amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organisms. Amoeba is a microscopic single-celled organism found in the pond water. It has a cell membrane, a rounded, dense nucleus and many small bubble-like vacuoles in its cytoplasm. Amoeba constantly changes its shape and position. It pushes out one or more finger-like projections called pseudopodia. It is otherwise known as false feet for movement and capture of food. Amoeba feeds on some microscopic organisms when it senses food. It pushes out pseudopodia around the food particles and engulfs it. The food becomes trapped in a food vacuole. Digestive juices are secreted into the food vacuole. They act on the food and break it down into simpler substances. Gradually, the digested food is absorbed. The absorbed substances are used for growth, maintenance and multiplication. The undigested residue of the food is expelled outside by the vacuole. The basic process of digestion of the food and release of energy is the same in all animals. Okay children, this is the lesson. Here we discuss about the digestive process. Digestion and feeding process takes place in amoeba. Amoeba is a single-celled organism which do not have mouth and digestive system. We cannot able to see amoeba with our naked eye. They are present in ponds. They are single celled and it has a cell membrane around the nucleus and vacuoles in the cytoplasm. It changes its shape and position continuously by pushing out finger-like projections called pseudopodia. It is also known as false feet that helps to capture some microscopic organisms as its food. The food becomes trapped in a food vacuole and the digestive juices that act on food to break down into similar substances. Finally, the undigested food is expelled outside by the vacuole. Okay children, this is the process of feeding and digestion takes place in amoeba. Now we finished our second lesson. So all of you try to read and understand the lesson very well. Okay children, and coming Saturday, instead of Malayalam class, you will have science test paper of lesson 1. All of you study well. Okay, see you next class. Thank you.